We're all back once again. I've screwed up the whole intro because, of course, I tried to stream on Twitch, and unfortunately, I done goofed. For the last time. I can already see that there's a shit ton of shitcoin requests already streaming into the chats. That's always good. We can talk about a little bit of shitcoin action later, but I do expect that if Bitcoin's correcting, shitcoins ain't going to be doing all that well. Maybe a few of them. Some of them have actually shown some incredible strength, a very, very small amount. As usual, there is always going to be some outliers somewhere out there in the world, but the majority, yeah, I don't expect that this is going to be beneficial for them. Anytime Bitcoin goes down, it's like Bitcoin fucking coughs. Altcoins catch AIDS as usual. It's just the way of the world. It's just the way of the world. So what's up, Mr. Igor Strubel? It's been a long time, man. I feel like I haven't seen you here, but all good, man. Hope everything's all good. Martinez from Lithuania. Ant Wilson. Marco Winkera. Sorry, man. It's a hard one for me to say. Mr. Van Duysen, as always, good to see you, brother. Blue Mountain Fire. Asti. Who else we got? Austin, we got Devo Rat. What is this? So happy I can watch the live. Thanks for the excellent. Hey, I really appreciate that, man. I'm not rich yet, but thanks to you, I know I'm not. I know I'm a brainless idiot. Well, hopefully that isn't my main message, man. I really wouldn't want it to be that. But hey, sometimes we all do brainless idiot stuff. Me as well, man. That's how we learn. I mean, that's at least how I learn. As the old saying goes, a wise man learns from his own mistakes, a smart man learns from his own mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. Well, unfortunately, I'm not very wise myself, man. It's just the way that we humans are unfortunately built in many ways. Anyways, we got some hate coming in from Ohio. No, it's Iowa. Good morning to you, man. Trick shots, John, dude. 4 cryptos, newbies. We got hate from Germany. Germany, always very strong in the hate, as always. Stoned Crypto Carps is checking in from Connecticut. Connecticut, very difficult name of any state for Elsa to say, actually. But she will try anyways and watch him from Chicago. Hopefully, all is well over there, man. I hear that Chicago is, I used to live in Chicago myself, but I know that it has been quite the war zone as of recent, man. Just fucking crazy. I remember even when I was living there like 10 years ago, it was pretty fucking wild. Like, I was living in the nice part of town, honestly, and there would always be stories, even in that area that people that I would know would get jumped, coming back home at like 2-3 a.m. after a nice night out at the bars. But again, they're coming back to like these very, very nice places, and then what the fuck is going on there, man? Who the hell knows? We got hate from Frogland. Is that France? I don't actually know. Love from Uranus. I love Uranus as well. Bitcoin Slut 1, great name, in fact, maybe one of the best names that we're going to see this morning. Hate from Portugal. I just got invited to go to Portugal. I don't know if we'll actually make it over there, but it does look pretty damn nice. Portugal looks like California. Probably has the same politics as well, which is probably not the best thing, but it is what it is. Hate from St. Pete's, Florida. Yeah, man, a lot of people hateful over there as well. It's good old hippie town, but we love our hippies, man. We love our hippies. And hate from Haifa. What's up, Mr. Levash? And much love from Switzerland. Probably one of the most magical places in all of the U.S. and all of the world. At least from what I've seen, man. I've never been there myself, but yeah, yesterday we actually had a pretty cool day. Myself and Elsa went to actually both of our first professional football games in our lives, and there was all sorts of antics going on, man. First off, Elsa loves her favorite part of any fucking sporting event is the national anthem. Like, she was standing on her feet, like yelling and screaming at the end of it too, man. She is the biggest fucking patriot without being an actual patriot here. It's amazing. It's actually amazing. On top of that, they had a good old flyover as well, because it was the first home game for the Buccaneers this year. I think it was F-16s. 4 of them flew over right as the national anthem ended. It was pretty epic, honestly, man. Those are the moments where you're proud. Those are the moments where you're very proud. Very, very cool shit, man. I love to see that. But goddamn, being at a professional sporting game, like, I like watching the athleticism, but it does make me realize, like, holy shit, why are these people so wrapped up in this fucking game that they aren't even playing themselves? What are you doing? Do something more productive. But then again, man, it was a fun time. It was a very, very fun time. Yeah, Elsa was having a great time. She fucking loved it, man. The national anthem is like her favorite part of any event that we go to. It's good, man. It's really, really good. Hate from Boca Raton. I hear Boca Raton's actually really, really awesome, man. We need to make it over there. It looks absolutely gorgeous, absolutely beautiful at least from what I see. Anyways, yeah, sounds fucking amazing, says Nova Sparks. Indeed it was, man. Indeed it was. It was pretty damn cool. I really wanted to go to a college football game, though, because I feel like a college football game is just so intense energy, whereas like a professional game, it was certainly loud yesterday for sure, but it wasn't like the enthusiasm that you see at a college game. But I suppose we will have another day for that. But yeah, man, put her on YouTube singing the anthem. I don't know if she knows the words, maybe a few of them, but she was definitely yelling and screaming at the end of it, just like any proud American would be. It was. She's saying right now her favorite part is the land of the free and the home of the brave. The land of the free and the home of the brave. That's right, man. What other national anthem is so epic as that? Talking about bombs bursting in the air, blowing shit up, and the amazing flag. That's the fucking best part. It's the best part, man. Freddie says he left NYC to go to Boca. Yeah, man, I feel like everyone I fucking meet here in Florida is fucking from New York, and I can't really blame him for moving out, man. Like, goddamn, what a mess over there. Like, if you don't need to be there for work or anything like that, I mean, what the hell are you doing over there, man? I do kind of understand it though. When you're young, it's nice to be in a city. Absolutely, I've definitely had that feeling myself. In fact, I used to say I would never move outside of a city. But now it's like, I think I'd rather be outside of a city, actually. Or at least not in one of those big shithole cities, man. It's nice when you're in your 20s, maybe even in your early 30s as well. But after that, man, it's time to move on. It's time to move on, in my opinion, at least. Yeah, man. She loves it, man. She loves it. It's really, really awesome to see, actually. But yeah, would hope that she can go to a college game. We'll get in some price action analysis here soon enough. I just want to give some more time for people to join in. I do apologize for fucking up the stream earlier. I was trying to multi-stream on Twitch as well, and we'll get that done at some point. But I fucked it up earlier, and I had to cancel the stream, then reintroduce it, blah, blah, blah. You don't give a fuck about that. But yeah, in case you were wondering what was going on there, that was the issue. I'm curious to see what traditional markets are looking like right now. We got about 10, 11 minutes until U.S. markets open. Futures are trading for SPY. Slightly down to open the week, very, very slightly down. But overall, this is still a massively bullish chart long term. Short term, does it play at a bit of a correction? I don't even know if it's going to do much of a correction here, to be honest. I mean, bit of a daily range, sure, yeah, but is this thing going to come back down to like 6,600, or is it going to make new highs? I think it's more likely to make new highs before any sort of a real meaningful correction that we might see on a higher term time frame here. You know, worst case scenario this week, I don't know, maybe like 6630-ish region. What about NASDAQ futures? NASDAQ futures, same shit, same chart more or less, and same sort of analysis here too. I mean, for fuck's sake, I just do not understand in traditional markets the bearishness when shit is just continuing to make new all-time highs. And ultimately, when you look at history, you will see very, 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 very cleanly and clearly, and I'll actually bring you over here to do a little bit of a historical analysis with you. You know, when you start to kind of zoom out and look at the monthly chart, I mean, fuck, man, what we're doing right now is absolutely nothing crazy, historically speaking. Like, this chart is back from, 1960 right here. And whenever you see the stock market make new all-time highs, it just fucking grinds and grinds and grinds and grinds for years at a time. I mean, we're looking at a monthly right now. This is insane. This is 2002. This was like 2 major bear markets ago, right? Then you got 2008 right here. And after that, man, it's just straight fucking up. So anytime that I see one of these major dips, which is, anywhere between 10 to 20%, generally speaking, when you make new all-time highs from there, it's going to continue to grind to new all-time highs. And yeah, you're going to get your pullbacks on a daily and everything, but those are not going to be like a major, massive downtrend, at least usually not anytime soon. So, as far as traditional markets go, it's like I'm still bullish there. Bitcoin looks like it wants to correct more, or at least consolidate more. And I think that that's going to not be treating the altcoins very well generally. And what I hope is we're going to get the scenario that we spoke about throughout the majority of this month, which is hopefully Bitcoin spends more time correcting and consolidating within this range, because ultimately, in my opinion, it is going to lead towards a more prolonged market cycle and a more steady and healthy market cycle, which continues to grind up similarly to the way that you do see traditional markets. Again, if Bitcoin just blasts over to new all-time highs and goes parabolic from here, it's, in my opinion, a very bittersweet thing, because I think that it would also imply you're going to get the opposite as well. You're going to get a parabolic dump at some point here, but we'll find, I think we'll have a pretty good opinion on this, or at least, sorry, not necessarily a pretty good opinion, but a pretty good probabilistic way forward once we get to literally the end of September. The reason why that is because a lot of the potential parabolic ishness for Bitcoin hinges upon Bitcoin's ability to close September green. If Bitcoin closed Bitcoin, or if Bitcoin closed Bitcoin, if Bitcoin closed September above about what is it, 109? Yeah, about 109 for this month of September, then yes, it will be green. And at that point, I do lean towards this being a parabolic finish for Q4, but that also means parabolic dump to follow after that that as well. If Bitcoin does close this month, especially red, or at least spends, the next month or two correcting still within this overall range, then that's where I get really excited for the more long term, because again, it's just proving my point that this thing is becoming a more healthy, more mature asset, and we can expect this thing to grind up in a similar way that we do see for, traditional market ETF, typically in the tech sector, which just, any sort of real dip is quite literally an opportunity. Anyways, yes, okay. All right, a little bit more of this caffeine over here. I've been really enjoying cold brews recently. I found a really good one as well. It's so smooth. It doesn't make me feel like shit afterwards. I love it. I absolutely love it. Is the quad witching still on, or is it less important this time? It literally just happened, man. I don't really know what you mean from necessarily by that. Like, the quad witching always happens 4 times a year. It's always going to happen. So is it still on? Yeah, the answer is absolutely yes. But if you're looking for like an implication from that, that's where I'd want you to probably provide a little more color, because other than that statement is kind of doesn't really make sense, to be honest. But yeah. Anyways, we got some shitcoin chillers in here talking about some garbage, no sauna bullshit, going parabolic. I'm sure it's great, man. I'm sure it's great. That's why you need to go into live streams on YouTube and pump your bags to let everyone know, to get in at the exact top. We love that, man. We love that. We love that indeed. Anyways, let me just see what I got going on over here. A few notes to work through, but yeah, I think we actually do have a pretty streamlined analysis for today, and a few new things as well. I mean, I guess it's more or less just continuing on with this overall thread of analysis, but a few new things along the way here too. Anyways, let me get rid of this screen because that's probably taking up a little bit of bandwidth. I think I've gotten rid of my VPN as well, so that's good. We'll get to some of those things later. Quantum Logic says, "Don't make fun of my libtard friends and their broken cities." Yeah, man, I really don't want to play into the political side of anything right now, but I mean, I will say this again, not getting too deep into politics and shit like that, because I'm really not a political person. I don't like it. I'm not into. Oh fuck, I'm getting into call right now. One moment, let me just see what this is about, and perhaps we'll move on. Okay, we're back on. Very quick little call right there. CryptoG says narcissist. I love it. Fair enough. If that's your interpretation of that, that's a very bizarre interpretation, but okay. Anyways, can kind of expect a response like that, I guess, from one side very usually, which naturally pushes me more to the other side. I mean, it really is insane, man. But I will say, over the past couple weeks, something that I noticed, and something that's actually been very, very influential to me, is to see the response after the terrible events that were 2 weeks ago, which wasn't just, again, Charlie Kirk's murder, but also the other thing with the Ukrainian woman. That one obviously not politically motivated, but kind of did get political as well. But I will say the most convincing thing to me was to not necessarily see the response of the left side, because you kind of expect that, but the response of the right side, if they were truly violent, megalomaniac, crazy people who are hell-bent on destroying everything, that would have been their opportunity to have some sort of righteously inspired anger to respond violently. And we haven't seen anything like that. And to me, that's actually very, very influential, as well as some of the responses from the other side as well, which were pretty fucking sickening, to be honest. But yeah, man, I really wanted to know throughout this whole event, like, okay, what is true? What is true? Because I know that both sides are going to, try to spin this, right? They're going to try to spin this for their own side, because both sides are honestly completely fucked when you go to the extremes. But maybe one side is a little more fucked outside of that as well. Anyways, so I wanted to get through the spin. I wanted to see through the spin, and so I went and actually we watched like a bunch of Charlie Kirk videos ourselves, with just an open mind. I didn't really know anything about him beforehand. Maybe I've seen a few clips of him owning the libs, shit like that. But I don't like those videos because, again, it's spin, right? It's spin. So we watched a bunch of his unedited videos, and I can genuinely say I didn't see anything there that was crazy. He was never mean or unnecessarily rude to someone, although people were very rude to him, certainly at times. but he took it in stride. Again, don't agree with all of his views, but then again, who agrees with anyone's like full views about anything? I mean, it's just a nonsensical retard statement, to be honest, to even, say. But to look at some of the spin from, especially one of the sides, it is so damning in my opinion, because in order to get the clips that they got, which actually listened to a lot of those full clips, they would have to intentionally misrepresent something, knowing that he did not actually mean that, because these are like, 15 to 20 second clips from a 2-hour long podcast or video. And so in order to get to that, you had to have deliberately listened to all of the whole thing, because this is just like a small 20-second clip in a 2-hour long fucking podcast, and just pick out that just to misrepresent that. That's where I think I really started to change my mind about this shit. And been like, okay, this is pretty disgusting and pretty ugly here. Anyways, let's talk about some price action analysis. Maybe get off the politics right there. Just felt like that was kind of burning a hole in my chest to say, because I actually did spend that time. I mean, we probably spent like 5 or 6 hours, maybe 7 hours listening to videos and whatnot. Anyways, let's get into it right now. Let's go over some daily price action statistics, and then of course the fun stuff coming right after that. But looking at Monday, Monday's actually the most likely day to close positively since this bull market began in 2023. I personally highly doubt we're going to see a positive closure today. Just personal opinion right there. 54.25% of all Mondays have closed positively during that time. Again, not like a tremendous amount, but as always, we're most interested with the average gain and average loss. In this case, I think the average loss is going to be obviously a lot more relatable, and we have already gotten the first pass on the bottom end of that boundary, which is close to 2%. That was 113, 130. Bitcoin trading kind of around there right now. So as I typically say, when you're looking at these as scalpable ranges, it's the first pass that typically in this case would get a bounce. And I believe that we did see a bounce on the first pass. Let's just double check right here. Yes, indeed, there was a very nice bounce right here, actually. But the second pass, not so much. So ultimately, this one actually probably do think it bounced a little bit more from here in the very, very short term. Maybe gets a try towards 114, but ultimately this very likely to be a red day. So if you were looking at this, I think that's kind of more or less the easy part of that's already played out. But moving on from there, I do want to get into, of course, everyone's favorite thing, probably the most controversial thing outside of politics, which is the fucking moons. And we have indeed gotten the traditionally bearish moon. I think this one's called the new moon right here, that the red arrow is pointed towards. And it's been actually pretty decent over the past few months in producing some downside price action. Last time we saw this was beginning the move in August, or late August, I should say, when Bitcoin was trading about 117, kind of the same shit that we saw over the weekend, all the way down to the current lows that we've seen in the past couple months at 107 or so. Sorry, let me limit the sound from Discord here as well. That's going to get real fucking annoying. I can already tell you, man. I have to mute that at all hours of the day, to be honest. It just is what it is. But yeah, getting back into it right here. That has fired off, and that has been a decent corrective signal for, really the eternity of time for Bitcoin. But especially in this past year, I would say most of these have played out with decent downside. I can really only point out a few that did not. I would say this one right here did not. This one right here did not. And this one right here, it's still corrected period, but it wasn't really great. Neither was this one. But all of the rest of them throughout the past year and a half, 2 years have actually been pretty damn decent. Again, it's not a 100% thing, but seeing as this is the first response, coming off of that, it really does make you think. And again, at the end of the day, all I care about is stats. And when you have something that has a very, very high hit rate to produce, actionable moves, well, this would be it. And once again, we have some downside price action coming off the back of the witches calling the new moon or the next moon or whatever the fuck it's called. On top of that, if I can hold on, I think I discombobulated this. Yeah. On top of that, if you recall from last Friday's video, we were looking at the 618 fib right here at 117,760, which Bitcoin was more or less trading right at that time as sort of an indication, or at least an area of interest, that if Bitcoin is going to reject, this is the area for it to really happen around, or like kind of like the last sort of area that really makes sense for the bears to push back on what would be, another lower high. And in this case, we have seen Bitcoin push back here, and does it come down a little bit more? I suspect it will. I expect it will. We'll get into sort of targeted regions and areas of interest in a little bit here. But again, turning back around a major fib like this, that would be your bearish retracement, to be fair. I mean, that would be your bearish retracement. So ultimately, Bitcoin is, in my opinion, confirming that it wants to go into more of a consolidation and correction here. Does this continue onwards and forwards from September? Again, my personal hope is that it will, because that would likely imply that this cycle will get longer and continue with this beautiful stair-stepping up behavior that we've seen over the past few years. But of course, crypto degens who need their fucking shitcoins to go 1 million X and beyond to make rent tomorrow, that is not going to be ideal, because you need parabolicness from Bitcoin. And in my opinion, I think that that's kind of like, again, a bittersweet sort of thing to be looking for, because after your parabolic pump, you get your parabolic dump. And in this case, we're neither pumping nor dumping, and a good sideways range, in my opinion, is good. On top of this, we can go ahead and look at the HPDR, which we were referencing a lot last week. And we were saying, hey, on Friday, if Bitcoin finishes below the median, which it certainly did, that's going to give a downwards bias coming into this week, which we have already played out a little bit of that downwards bias. But I would say the range now becomes between basically last week's open and that 38.2 level to the downside right here, which is more or less the lows that we've seen throughout September at 107 to 500-ish region, somewhere around there. So ultimately, do I think that Bitcoin's going to come somewhere down around there? I think at least somewhere down around there. So that'd be the first sort of area of interest in the more, I guess, what's it called? What's the word that I'm looking for? I can't find my words right now. So, I'm just going to move on from that statement. But that would be the first major area of interest. Again, basically the lows from September. Yes, if you're on lower term time frames, going to see bounces and whatnot and twists and turns along the way, obviously. But generally speaking, I would be looking somewhere down around there. On top of that, we still have several of these setups over here in motion. One of them is going to be the 4-day time frame setup, which did fire off back on over here. This is, again, the interplay between the red moving average and the yellow moving average. Whenever we see the red cross the downside of the yellow, we get a nice correction to that green moving average, minimum correction, I should say, every time, really. But especially in the last 8 years, this has been extremely consistent to happen relatively quickly. Now, this one, admittedly, is taking longer than any other prior iteration that we've seen over the last 8 years. But is it still not, is it not going to get down to this green moving average, which right now is around 105-ish or a little bit above 105? I would say, especially with the rejection that we just saw at the 618, that becomes the next major area of interest under the current lows that we've seen from September. And again, that is a minimum target. That is a minimum target. So it could overshoot like we've seen recently over here in February and March, and like we saw over here last year in August and again in June. And then, on the other side, maybe it just, gives it a nice kiss and then back up. Definitely possible, but it is certainly not unheard of this to try lower. The real issue now going forwards is going to be the 5-day time frame, because that will naturally get pulled into the same sort of thing, the same sort of setup here. If Bitcoin really starts to close below about 111, 110-ish region, that will naturally happen. And I believe on CME, we have the 3-day time frame, which is inching its way towards the same sort of thing as well. And we got the same interplay here too. The 3-day time frame actually has not gotten that cross just yet for CME. For spot price action, it has, and we've more or less played that out. If you recall, that was effectively what gave us that initial target to 107 or so early on in the month of September. But this one, if CME plays out, we can see the green moving average is all the way down around 104, $104,500 or so. So ultimately, somewhere down around there would be the next sort of area of interest if Bitcoin does fail the September lows, which my personal opinion is that it probably will. But again, long term, I look at that as a good thing. Long term, I look at that as a good thing, because long term, more consolidation within this region over a long period of time does equate towards a more prolonged market cycle. Anyways, looking at the monthly time frame, because we are getting close to the end of September now. Let's just see what the monthly HPDR bands are looking like, particularly on spot price action, while I take a sip of this water. Got a lot of calculations going on in the background. We got Caretaker with like a million calculators trying to figure this these ranges out right now. Let's see what it spits back out. By the way, Caretaker's got a bunch of updates coming in for the price statistics as well, or the historical price action statistics, I should say. And yeah, the monthly here, I'm not getting a ton from this. Except what we already know, that Bitcoin's living well below the median. So ultimately, I'll tell you something that's just not very helpful right now, but hopefully we get more color on this coming into October. But top side of the range like 130, bottom side as of right now 93. I don't think that we're hitting either one of those sides this month. But next month, coming into October, I expect that we will be setting up for one of those tests. But we'll see where those numbers come in around at that time. On top of all of this, we should update on stochastic momentum pivots for those higher term timeframes, because we've now seen all higher term timeframes close up to a weekly. Daily timeframe is now getting a fresh twist to the downside, supported by a red dot, the old red dot right here on the advanced stochastic. This one going to be showing down to the momentum as long as Bitcoin's below 117,400. Again, getting into the critical zone for the first time in a long time, and also crossing down for the first time since middle of August, actually, which is where Bitcoin has thus far put in its all-time high. So this could actually be read as hidden bearish divergence, as we do have a higher high on our momentum oscillator right here with a lower high on price action. Within the context of kind of a intermediate downtrend, I would say. The 2-day time frame is going to be, this one's probably gonna be loading for a little bit of time, but let's see where this one comes in around. Get back to my notes over here. Yeah, this one's actually gonna have a fresh cross to the downside. I believe it is tomorrow night. Yeah, upon closure, Bitcoin's still below 115, 150. And I should also acknowledge that this one is playing out a bit of a trendline regression here from the last few highs. So crossing down within this region kind of also implies that this same format is going to continue to play out. The 3-day time frame is, let's see where this one's coming in around. This one actually just closed last night, so this one's not going to be updating for another couple days, but as of right now, it's still loading. Let's be a little more patient, which I have very, very little of. But actually, right now, it is pointed to the upside above 110. That would imply Bitcoin needs to remain above 110. But hey, it is in there. 5-day time frame is, I think this one's still down. I believe I referenced this one earlier. Yeah, it is still pointed healthily down. And this one's also a bit more conclusive to me as the weekly, because we did see that there was a potential for both of these, the 5-day and the weekly, to cross back onto the upside coming at the end of last week, because Bitcoin was right at that 117 pivot. Instead of keeping right around there for the last closure, for this next closure, which is tonight, it's falling, decently below that number. So to me, that says, hey, momentum still remains to the downside. And on top of that, we're seeing the 5-day stochastic momentum oscillator get into the bearish control zone on this next tick, very, very likely. Again, if Bitcoin's below 117,250, I mean, that will naturally happen. 5-day, I mean, we already know that this one's going to be down. The 2-weekly time frame is also going to be down. As we let it load, 119 is the magical number to be aware of right there. And then the 3-week time frame, same thing as well. Monthly and quarterly, still kind of a bit of a curveball there. I really want to wait until we get until the end of this month, because a lot can be said about that, but I don't want to be too early about it, because that's going to massively change, or potentially change, the analysis. But I'll just put it this way. Bitcoin closes red for September. That's going to really indicate that we're going to see a prolonged sideways range, emerge between the 120 highs versus, I would imagine, like the $90,000 base, something like that. Again, I look at that as a very, very good thing long term. I look at that as setting in a very healthy and stable base to launch from. And it also implies that whenever we actually do witness a real bear market, we're not going to see the nasty fall that we typically have seen in the past for Bitcoin. But hey, there's a lot of assumptions right there. Only time will tell on this one. And again, I understand that might be a controversial statement, because I do understand, and this is completely fine to want. It's just my personal opinion is I don't want this, but it's completely fine for people to want Bitcoin to go parabolic. I just think it'd be a bittersweet thing, to be honest. Anyways, okay, cool. We've gone through all of that. I think I've hit just about all the points that I want to hit for this video. We can now get into some good old shitcoin requests. I'm sure that they're doing absolutely amazing, especially on a day like today. Sarcasm mostly, but of course, there are always a few outliers here and there. So let's see if people from this community have actually found what those outliers are. We'll start it from the top. As always, we've got Steven Schickman first. He's looking at Doggy Daily Weekly and then Ethereum. Let's see what Doggy's doing first, because that's the first one on my list. And what do you know? Coming back down, it did hit our 30-cent target, which I felt like we had for a fucking aeon back, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Then backed off it almost immediately, which to me is not the best signal here. And are we now violating my rule with the monthly time frame? I don't think it's going to be just yet, but it should be pretty damn close. So it's all going to depend upon how the monthly closes, in my opinion. Yeah, it is pretty damn close there. I really don't like a pullback this nasty already, but there still is 8.5 days left to go in this month of September. Again, my rule on the higher term time frame is as long as you are above all major moving averages, especially the red one, that 5 EMA, don't get, super nasty, massive bearish. But if this thing does finish the month below 21.5 cents, which it ain't so far away from right now, felt a lot further away when it was trading at 30 cents, but now, quite close. If it does close below there, I'd be very happy to get very, very bearish on this thing, likely back down to 15 cents or so. Again, bounces and whatnot along the way. But as of right now, looking at the weekly, a very clear range is emerging as it stands. You can see the highs coming in right around here from this rejective swing in February of this year, and the lows coming in basically that 15-cent region. So in the short term, if you are reading this as a price action, if you are reading this from the price action pivots indicator as what would be a rising pizza right here, this does have a higher probability to break down. And the breakdown target would be more or less somewhere around 20 to 19.5 cents. Does that play out before the end of the month? If it does, well, as I said, I'd be very, very happy to get very, very bearish on it. But if it does not, then, still have to give it the benefit of the doubt until it does. Because again, I have these rules in there simply because I've seen it reverse so many times. So that's why I really, really respect higher term time frame trends when it comes to even shit like this as well. If we go ahead and look at Ethereum here, Ethereum trading at 4,200 or just below 4,200. We did say that this one was likely to come back down to 4,200. This was a couple weeks ago. Took us time to do it, but hey, it did indeed happen. Now getting a bounce off of the retest of the low that we saw from middle of August. So again, very, very common stuff right there. Not necessarily mega bullish nor mega bearish, to be honest, as well. Looking at the monthly, again, overall, I don't hate this chart at all. I just think that it might correct a little bit longer. If it came back down even a little bit below 4,000 bucks, it's not super problematic to me. But I do think that it's done, zooming its way to new all-time highs. In going on these crazy runs without, a more sideways consolidation, more long form consolidation right here. Again, this thing was basically vertical from all the way in June to our highs more recently in August. That's just up every fucking week, up big. It's typically how Ethereum moves, and then it spends, a very long time going sideways. And I think we're in one of those long sideways periods yet again. Short term, very short term, it should try for a bounce here. Maybe gets back up to like 4,300 or so. Let it go sideways a little bit, but ultimately I don't think that you're going to be making new all-time highs anytime soon. And I don't think you're going to be like, crashing or anything like that to the downside anytime soon. Maybe if it takes another leg down, somewhere around 3,900 is fair game. That's where I kind of be looking for, I guess, but I'd really be expecting another big bounce somewhere around there. I only get concerned about this thing if you really start to come below on a monthly. Let's say, the most obvious thing would be anywhere below August low, but that's pretty low, so we don't probably have to wait until that, or at least I wouldn't have to wait until that. I would be looking at about 3,600 right there. If it comes below there, okay, yeah, something else going on. Let it fucking crumble as these things typically do. But until then, be respectful of the trend. Short term, yeah, I think it might go a little bit lower, but should at least try for a higher low and one more attempt to the upside. Just like Bitcoin, I don't think Ethereum is necessarily putting the highs for this cycle just yet. I just think that the cycle is probably going to get longer, and naturally, it'll require some patience, which is very difficult to be having. Anyways, let's see what else we got on the chats here. I see Mr. Van Duysen. He's looking at LSEG on London Stock Exchange. Thank you for specifying what shitcoin exchange this one's from, LSEG. So this is, or I remember we looked at this one last week, right? Yeah, terrible. But you are coming into an area where you kind of do expect a pity bounce here, or at least what I like to call a pity bounce. It's like there's no virtue in it. It's not like a bullish thing, right? It's just, you've come down so fucking much. You're back around a major consolidation region. If we could let my fucking moving averages load, I'm sure it's around a major moving average. So it's like, is it going to really drop that much more before trying a big bounce? Highly unlikely, but why are these things taking so fucking long to load today? This is so strange, man. It never takes this long for moving averages, especially. What the fuck? Must be my internet. Must be TradingView. I'm just gonna blame TradingView because fuck TradingView. They just make every goddamn worst change that's possible to make. They like. If there was just a better platform, I feel the same way about fucking Teachable as well. Absolute dog shit. Anyways, yeah, so looking at it here, you're coming in around a really major moving average, the weekly 377. You're also coming in around from this multi-year consolidation. It's like, do I think you're really going to crash through 7,900 first before trying to bounce? No, I don't. And if you get any wicks below there, I think that these are easy, scalps if you can hold on to things for a little bit of time. This is a weekly time frame after all, but ultimately, do I think that it's in a short to medium term bouncing region? I think it actually might drop off a little bit more if you're on like a daily here. It might officially test that major moving average, but basically, I don't think that you're getting like any significant further downside from here. Again, when you go to the higher term time frames, I think that the overwhelming majority of this move has already been done and generally should be looking for at least a pity bounce play. Again, a pity bounce play, not calling like a major reversal back to all-time highs or anything like that. Hell no. But a pity bounce, sir. Mike McLaughlin says, MP material stock. Nice. Got a lot of stonk action to start off this stream. That's always good, man. Always makes me feel like I'm actually doing something that's real. Anyways, looking at MP materials here again, for some reason shit is just taking a long time to load today. I wonder if this is the issue for anyone else using TradingView this morning. Usually it's a lot faster than this, to be fair. But I don't know, I can just kind of zoom it out here and get a general idea. You're on a weekly and a monthly. Sorry, let me go to at least a weekly here. Yeah, weekly time frame, again, consolidating on new all-time highs. That's not a bad thing in my opinion. Yes, it's been a pretty massive move. I think that it might take some time going sideways here, but ultimately I'm not necessarily bearish, to be honest. I would love it if my fucking indicators could load. That would be just absolutely amazing, but don't trust TradingView to do what it's literally supposed to fucking do. The only real purpose for it is like, no, let's make our socials better from TradingView. It's like, no one gives a fuck about your stupid fucking social profile on fucking TradingView. Holy shit, you morons, you fucking morons. This isn't fucking Facebook. Oh my God. It really drives me nuts. It really fucking drives me nuts. Okay. If you can't see, I'm not happy about it. All right. I'm not fucking happy with their stupid fucking service. It's garbage. Anyways, check out my TradingView affiliate link in the description. Kidding. I don't even have one. Should probably do that more often though. Check out my affiliate links in the description link in the description below. Check out my, or don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't really say that either. Need to get better on my YouTuber game. Anyways, overall fine, man. Especially as long as you're above, what is it, 50, 57, 50. I don't have any issues with this. I think it's just consolidating on a highs. You're probably gonna make new highs from there. I just think it's gonna take some time to go sideways from here a little bit. That's fine. But I don't think that the highs are in just yet, to be fair. Again, I would change my opinion below, what was it, 57 and a quarter. Until then, just let it do its thing, man. It might take a long time, to be fair, but yeah, that's fine. Anyways, John Jude says, Litecoin derp index. Sure, man. LTCUSD, I think I got it right here. There we go. And as usual, Litecoin failing on any chance that it gets. On any chance that it gets. That's why we love Litecoin. You can always count on it to absolutely just suck. Just fucking suck. I was told this was the silver to Bitcoin's gold, but it seems to be the silver to actual dog shit. And once again, we have another chart that just won't fucking load. Amazing. Let's see if this one over here will be better at being a little bit quicker. Let's see. Okay, so far not so good. Still isn't even loaded over here. Pathetic, man. Fuck you, TradingView. You guys suck. You guys suck. You guys fucking suck. I pay premium for TradingView. And even then, they can't get it right. It's like, what the fuck, man? The one thing that this shit should be good for is charting. And it's not. It's really not that great. Anyways, hidden bearish divergence on that last weekly high. Okay, I think comes down a little bit more, probably closer to, I think it actually will come below $100. This one actually kind of breaking down here. I'm sure people are going to be calling this a herp and derp. You could definitely make that argument, left herp, derp, and then right herp over here. Sure, if you're going to be looking at that, there would be an implied target somewhere down to like 95-ish region. What I'm most interested in, though, if we can actually load it in some sort of, good time frame, would be the monthly. Still hasn't calculated the moving averages over here. Great fucking job, TradingView, piece of shit. Anyways, monthly time frame. Momentum will be to the upside if it can finish the month above 87.70. But if this thing closed below the 5 EMA, which apparently is too difficult to, I could probably calculate this shit in my fucking head if I had a calculator. I could calculate this shit in my head if I had a calculator. That makes no sense. What I'm trying to say is, It's if I had to guess, it's probably going to be like $100. I'm going to guess it's around $100 or maybe a little bit above 100. If it closed, okay. Oh, holy shit. What? It's done it. Only 2 minutes later. Amazing job, Trading View. Trading fuck view. Trading fuckface view, you piece of shit. See, that's the real way to make these things work. Just talk badly to them. They will listen. Anyways, 5 EMA is 102. If it can finish the month below there, which technically speaking, that week, I mean, there is good reason to believe it'll at least try around there. Does it happen before the end of this month? I don't know. I actually think it very well might. But if it does finish the month below there, I mean, this is just another case of Litecoin failing at any chance it gets. And Litecoin loves to fail at every chance it gets. That's what Litecoin's fucking good at, man. It's good at taking every opportunity to suck, to just do terribly. Amazing. It's gone absolutely fucking nowhere in over 9 years. Oh my God. What a great investment. What a great fucking investment. Anyways, yeah, as long as it's above there, I guess, you can kind of look at it with some rose-colored glasses and be like, well, maybe this is going to be the year it plays catch-up, but wouldn't be me. Anyways, Frank Nardiello says, hey, Crown, hope you had a wonderful weekend. We had a really good weekend, actually. Pretty damn fun, man. I'm curious what you think of AVAX, and can you see it going to its hell no, man. What, all-time fucking highs? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? All-time fucking highs. It can't even get above its December fucking highs, let alone its February 2024 highs. Hell no. Where the fuck do people get these ideas? Like, where the fuck? It's been in a bull market this whole fucking time. It can't even get above its earlier cycle highs. That is never a good sign. Never, ever, 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 ever. Yes, sometimes it does happen, but it is absolutely the exception to the rule, and it is a very, very, very low probability. I apologize if this comes off as derogatory towards you in any way, Sir Frank. It is not meant to be. It is meant to be upon this absolute fucking piece of shit chart right here. Holy fuck. What garbage. What fucking garbage. There is no virtue in having lower highs later in the cycle. Absolutely none. Absolutely fucking none. Absolutely fucking none. Absolutely fucking none. Never, ever, ever. That means that there will always be better horses than shit like this. Now, will it try some upside from here? I think it very well might. I think this thing could even get to $40, maybe even $50. That would be amazing. That would be fucking amazing for this thing. But is it ever going to get above this high at 150? It's going to do a 5 fucking X from here, and you're probably 90% through the cycle already? Hell no. Hell fucking no. Hell fucking no. Sorry, bro. I just had to say that to confuse the whales. All right, look, here's the real information. All of that I just said was a lie because I want to accumulate your AVAX tokens lower, okay? I've been accumulating AVAX tokens like Chuck E. Cheese tokens, and I almost got enough to buy 5,000 fucking tickets for one Pokemon card at the gift store. Amazing. Because that's what this shit's fucking worth. Pokemon cards are worth more, to be fair. Is it going to get above this fucking high? Look at Litecoin. Even Litecoin can't fucking do it. Even Litecoin can't do it. Look, if you are involved in any prior cycle shitcoin, whether it's 2021, 2017, 2015, basically the older it gets, the worse it gets typically. The probability of it ever trading above its prior cycle high, so in this case would be 150, is extremely low. It happens with maybe 10 coins out of 10 cryptos out of hundreds of thousands. It almost never happens. It almost never happens. Yes, people can bring up examples where it does happen, but those are the overwhelming exception to the rule. Find me a 2021 shitcoin that has made new highs above that high. That isn't an obvious one. I'll fucking wait. But yeah, man, no, it's going to go to new all-time highs. It's great, man. It's they've figured out cancer, and they've figured out how to create nuclear fusion, or I don't know, some shit like that, man. Yeah, it's solving the world's issues, right? Look, it might go higher from here. In fact, probably does at some point in this cycle. Do I think it's going to even overtake this high from last December / this January? Odds are against it, man. It's in a monthly downtrend. But I do think it might get close, honestly. I really do. Maybe $45 if it does. At the same point, I would say I'm absolutely wrong about even the slight glimmering hope, the small glimmering hope of bullishness if it were to come back down below at any point the low of September, or even really below like $24. If I see something like that, I don't think it's ever even going to get above this high ever again if that happens. But as long as it's above about $24 or so, I actually do think you very well might get another try towards like 45, 50-ish region. Is that anywhere close to 150, the all-time high? In my humble opinion, no. Actually, no. Yeah, so 100x long, all in, no stops. Make sure to take out loans. Make sure to max out your credit cards with 24% interest, and go all in. And don't even use a stop loss, man, because that's for losers. Again, if you're new here, I am making a poorly formed joke. If you are lobotomized, I am making a poorly formed joke. Anyways, let's see. Super Goo Lily, what's up, man? Hey, brother, can we have a look at Hang Seng Index? Yeah, man, it's been a while. How are these Chinese motherfuckers doing? Wow, really good. Really, really good. I do think it's probably going to pull back a little bit from here, but this is, I mean, this is a real reversal. I think we looked at it. I think we looked at this for you like last time. This must have been back. I remember it was reversing like back here somewhere. We said, hey, there actually is a higher low here, and it was already around that prior high. I think it was like right here maybe. So follow through is very, very likely. Look, I think you will get a pullback maybe around here. It actually might happen exactly from here, but have to be on higher low watch because this is now an uptrend reversal, man. And overall, I mean, this is like not bearish. It's not bad. This should be a macro low for a long time. Should be a macro low for a long time. But yeah, even if it comes down, from here, it could set in a higher low at 24,200. It could set in a higher low at 22,600. Both of those areas would be great. Does it even have bearish divergence here? It will have bearish divergence, yeah. So you probably do get a pullback relatively soon, but I wouldn't necessarily be bearish on it, man. Oh shit, you're on an hourly and a 4 hour. You don't give a fuck about those time frames. Sorry. Okay. Let's go down maybe to an hourly. Very, very short term. Do I think it pulls back a little bit? Yeah, probably back down to like 26 or 26,300. You do have some hidden bearish divergence on the hourly time frame here as well. Maybe another grind up on that 200 simple here. So somewhere around there, which is also kind of like that last low. But I do think, you probably at least try a little bit of a bounce there. Does the pullback drag you lower over more time? Possibly, yes, but I'd give that area a chance to bounce first, man. So yeah. All right, nice. That was actually all the super chats. So let's get on to the regular chats here. I'm at the bottom of the screen. Let me just take a few sips of this, and then we'll get into the comments. Lift the 99% says 10x to my portfolio from the all-in short. You went all in on a short? Nice, man. Cool, man. Let's see. Ryan says, we can blame Crown if this doesn't flip Bitcoin and market cap right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I will also be giving out refunds. Just email me at herptyderp at... I almost said something very terrible, so I will not complete that sentence. Honey Singh says, hype on the 4 hour, please. How high can it go up or down this week? Oh, great question. Let me just get out my fucking crystal ball and figure this one out. Well, let's see what the HPDR has to say about it. Probably good for areas of interest here. How high or low can it get this week? I mean, we need to make rent. Where do I put it all on red? Just kind of eyeballing it here. I think this week, if you do try upside, maybe $56, but I would say that's kind of hopium right now anyways. But this objectively is actually one of the best charts that we'll probably see today anyways. Okay, this is just really getting fucking annoying with this shit. Yeah, if it does try to pop back up from here, which it should try a little bit more on this bounce, I'd imagine. Maybe gets back up to like $56. Is it going to do better than that this week? It's barely even a weekly here to fucking analyze, man. Like, what the hell are you talking about? How high or low can it go this week? It doesn't even have a weekly. Maybe let's try this one while the other one loads, because that's going to take fucking forever. Short term, it should bounce more, honestly, man. I think this one does actually get back somewhere around like 53 to 55-ish. To the downside, I think it's probably played out most of the downside it's going to get this week. If it does try another downside move, maybe like 43, 44, somewhere around there. But bounce from here, I think it will actually get back up to like 53 or so. maybe gets all the way up to like 55, but I don't think you're doing much better than that for this week at least. And I think it's going to be sideways. Ultimately. President of European Investors Council. Wow, that sounds legit. As the new president of European Investors Council, investment capital 38 trillion, I predict 5 times growth for cryptocurrencies, Fetch, AI, and Kusama, as we will be investing heavily in AI. I believe you. I believe you, and I'm convinced. Dwayne Carpenter says, hate on SUI in the short term. All right, well, I mean, we can look at it. I can't promise I think it's going to be bad, but probably it'll be bad. Again, just no longer the darling of the market, no longer one of the ones that people really care about, because in order for people to care about it, it needs to be going parabolic. And to be fair, it does still have an uptrend here. So this one's not in as bad of a position as most things. And ultimately, I could give you 2 major areas of interest that really decide this one's fate. I think that it's actually okay to have hopium for this thing. I think it's actually okay to have hopium for this thing as long as you're above that September low at 311. The second that you come back down below there and close a higher term time frame below that number, that's when all the hopium gets absolutely fucking boo-caked on. And, maybe it doesn't happen immediately, but over time, I'd be looking for it to come back down well below $3, somewhere around $2.25 to $2 even. Again, monthly time frame right here. We're coming into the end of the month. Markets are kind of selling off a little bit into the end of the month. We still got 8 days, so a lot can happen, to be fair. Like, I don't want to be too aggressive right now, because I mean, it could take 1 day for it to either destroy or not destroy what I'm about to say. But if it closes below this month, let's call it 3.25. Let's call it 3.25. Or if you want to be super exact, 328, then yeah, I'm very happy to get very, very bearish on this thing. Very likely going to see it at some point back down to very low $2 regions, something like that. But as long as you're above about 228-ish, 227, whatever it is, I still think that you got a little bit of hopium here. I mean, that's effectively above that September low as well. So one of 2 ways to kind of negate this thing, but it's like, look, if Bitcoin's going to correct a little bit more, or likely to correct a little bit more, do I think that this thing's not going to do that? Of course, I think it's going to do that as well, and probably to a greater degree as well. I mean, look at this. Bitcoin's down less than 2% for the day, and SUI's down 6% already. I mean, again, Bitcoin coughs and altcoins catch AIDS. That's just the way of the world, unfortunately. Let's see what else we got. Pisa says, hey, Crown, could you take a look at XRP? Sure, ma'am. Let's see, 285. Okay, so this one's already hit its September lows. And bouncing from there. Okay, so this is its chance. Like, really don't want to see it back down below even the low of today at this point, because then you got like an actual downtrend emerging. And to be fair, I mean, you got low, you got same low, and same low again alongside lower highs, 1, 2, 3. Odds are going to start to favor a bearish resolution of this consolidation here. Let's see where the monthly is, just because this has been super helpful recently. Monthly, sort of my big bias buster is at 265, so it's a little bit above there, to be fair, right now, and it should bounce more from where it's gotten to today. So this is its chance to prove itself that it's not shit. But if you do see this thing come back down below even the low of today, and especially close even like a daily below there, I would be looking for this thing to actually fail this consolidation and come down significantly to low $2. But again, that's a big assumption, or at least, sorry, it's not even an assumption. That has not happened yet. We'd actually have to see it close below there, but it is close. And again, as we get close and closer to the end of this month, that's going to become a bigger and bigger focus. But for right now, give it a chance to bounce. I do think, it could easily bounce back up to like $3 or so. I'm not saying it's going to, but it could easily bounce back above there. But unfortunately, because of the way that this thing is set in the same lows 3 times alongside 3 lower highs, as long as it is below that last lower high at 315, it is more likely to break down. It is a downtrend on the daily time frame. It's just that monthly structure is kind of still keeping it up. But if you destroy that along the same side as well, then you got a real breakdown in mind. So at that point, like I said, I'd be looking very low $2 with bounces along the way. Again, it's not going to be one straight line. But we'll see. I mean, a lot can happen in 8 days. I don't want to get too aggressive, even though I've been a little bit more animated than usual on this stream. But again, this is going to look a lot more clear when we get to next Monday. But for right now, give it a chance to bounce. if it can reclaim this high at 315, okay, then I change my, it's not that I changed my mind. It's like at that point, okay, it's proven itself. Bias now turns to the upside, should retest highs, make new highs, and so on and so forth. That would look really, really good. But yeah, Andy VW says, please have a look at IBM Stonks. Nice. Thank you for specifying its stock. IBM, International Business Machines Corporation. Actually, I think it is a pretty good stock. Yeah, I mean, not bad. Generally goes up. We like that. Okay. So there's a couple of interesting things here, daily and weekly. I understand you're saying that you got some hidden bullish evidence on the monthly here. The easy portion of that move's already played out. Let's see where we're at on the weekly. I do think in the short term, you might play at a bit of a pullback down to like 260-ish region, but there should be a bounce attempt there as well. But here's the thing, man. I would actually really, oh man. Yeah, below about 250 or 255, below 255, I would say I would look at this as an impending big correction if that were to happen. Now, again, that's well and far away, but I want to overlay that condition just because, if it does come below there, I think that you're looking at a much deeper correction, close to like, probably close to this low here at 220, maybe even turns to like a real correction and it comes down significantly, to like $200. But one thing at a time. First, short term, do I think it pulls back? Yeah, this is kind of a good area for a pullback. Maybe it tries one slight move to the upside first at 275 and then pulls back. But overall, this area right here is kind of like a pullback region in my opinion. But pullback is fine. Like pullback is fine. Just don't want to see it violate about, let's just call it 250 to the downside. At that point, I think your pullback turns into a reversal. Until then, pullback is fine. It's just higher lows, no problem there. So all good. Anyways, I will take another sip of this. Calamity says, did he look at Aster? I can look at it. I think it's probably really new, right? I've been hearing this one pop up recently a lot. So I imagine there's not much of a chart here. Yeah, there's really not much of a chart here, man. This is a 4-hour time frame. It doesn't even really populate a 21 EMA. So I don't have a real analysis on this, man. If I had to call right here, I think you come back down to this low at like 128-ish region. But this is not like a breakdown call. It's not a breakout call. It's just a pullback into a low and then probably tries to bounce from there at the same point as well. Ultimately, this thing's a little bit too new. But yeah, if you put a gun in my head and I was looking at the hourly, I'd say, yeah, this thing comes back down to like 137 or 130-ish region. Give it a chance to bounce. Come back to it after that. No real analysis. So yeah. Kenneth says potential midterm correction levels for IREN. Let's check it out. IREN Limited. This is not correcting. This is going up, man. This is a breakout. This is a breakout to new all-time highs, man. If it does correct, I don't think it's going to correct from here. I think this one goes higher before it corrects. So I don't really have a level until I see a high. Until I see a swing high. But obviously your breakout point is going to become an area of interest. So that's a little bit below $40. If that area fails and you got $36, but I'm not saying it's going to get back down there. I think that this thing is actually making new highs first before anything else. This is very, very good, very, very strong breakout. That's more likely to get continuation than any sort of a real correction here in the very short term. I think that this thing might even hit this price action pivot extension at $44.5. And then maybe get like a short-term intraday pullback. Yeah, that's definitely possible, but I don't see it just yet. The only way I'd look at this and I'll be like, oh shit, this thing's gonna actually really correct is if it came back down below today's low sometime this week. If you see that, okay, yeah, you're probably gonna get a correction to like 35-ish would be my first target, and then 32 would be my second target. But for right now, this is a clean breakout is what it looks like to me, man. Yeah, it already retested the breakout region. I would be looking for upside, not downside right now. If it comes back down below today's low, then I change my opinion on that, and those would be the areas that I'll be looking at. So yeah, all good, man. All good, sir. All good. Feeling a bit redacted today. I know, man. We all do at some point. I definitely do. Like especially if I miss like an hour of sleep, I feel like I'm barely functional, man. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy. Mike's mad and mad. Good morning to you, man. I see over there. Justin Kaiser says, could you take a look at Sol on the daily? Sure. This one has been actually one of the more strong recently, which is cool to see. But is it putting in a local swing high right here? It looks like yes. So pull back and consolidate a little bit lower. But again, that's not like super problematic just yet. Problematic would be below 190. And I believe last week we said that this thing was going to pull back to about 220, and Oh, it got down to 215. So it overshot my target. I'm wrong. I should be killed. I should be maimed. I should be drawn and quartered and tarred and feathered and all these things. But, you know, fair enough. Yeah. So it basically got down to our first pullback target at 220. I do think it's going to try a little bit of a bounce here, maybe back up to like 230 or so. It's actually kind of a big bounce, to be fair. From there, do I think it corrects more to the downside or not? I actually really don't know on this one. I really don't know. Because if anything's in a strong position compared to most, it'd be this. But then again, it's like, do I think Solana's going to do its own thing if the majority of the market is looking a particular way? Very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. So I guess with that in mind, I'd have to say, you know, probably a short-term bounce here and then maybe comes back down to like oh, wow. Could easily come down below 210 or 200. And that brings you below, oh, that still doesn't bring you below 193. Or sorry, 190. Let's just call it 190. Below 190, I actually get legitimately bearish on this, looking for big moves back down to, you know, 150 or even 125. But again, that's pretty far away right now. I think you get a short-term bounce here and then come a little bit lower, but that's not like a death sentence to go back to like 210 or 205, for example. Anything like that. What's up, Asti? Looking at Tesla, short and long. Let's see. I got it on my list over here. TradingView actually starting to load a little bit better now. It looks like my curses have worked. That's the resolution to all issues, guys. Just become like an infant, you know, screaming at the sky. Bullish as fuck. You know, I really don't have any new things to say about this. I think that this thing is going to retest those highs. I think you got to pull back around there. Might even get a short-term pull. I mean, if you're very, very short-term, you might even get a short-term pullback where you're at right now. Even then, I mean, you know, maybe it comes down to like 395. But as far as the long-term goes, again, we're coming into the end of the month here, getting stronger into the end of the month and the end of the quarter. Might even be a new all-time high on the quarterly closure. To me, there's nothing bearish about that. I think that this thing is actually more likely to go above $500 than it is to go below $400 at this point. Okay, maybe not $400, but like $370, you know? So yeah. Ultimately, you know, you're probably going to get a pullback in the very short term, somewhere around maybe like 450 to basically your all-time high. Again, these are very, very common things, but I think that would just be another higher low before launching higher. Again, full disclosure, I own this thing myself, but yeah, that's my legitimate opinion on this. So there you go. Raphael says, thoughts on the Japanese yen 10-year weekly and monthly. I don't know if I trust TA on these things, to be honest. And bonds generally trade differently to begin with. You know, I really don't have an opinion on this, man. I really don't have an opinion on this because it's acting like a shitcoin. I don't know. If TA even works on these things, I don't know if it does. I imagine trends probably do, but you don't even really have like a clean trend here. It's just straight down and then straight up. It's like, it's unhelpful, right? It's unhelpful. Generally, when you get around a prior high, you're going to pull back. So, you know, if it gets somewhere around here, I'd be looking for a pullback. And I think you probably do get somewhere around there. But I don't have a real analysis on this, man. Bonds are a different thing altogether. Will you be buying a Tesla Optimus robot to replace Elsa? Yeah, I'm also getting the fleshlight attachment, and then I'm going to glue on a picture of Elsa's face, and then it's just like her, right? Kidding, of course. I would never do that to my lovely Elsa. Crypto Tiger says a stonk, but I will get a Tesla Optimus robot for sure. I mean, we're going to have it like, you know, hanging around the house, and I'll talk to it, and then it'll, you know, do chores. Wouldn't you rather Tesla Optimus robot do the fucking vacuuming and laundry and shit? Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's who wouldn't want to do that? And you know what I'm really excited for though is to get these robots, and I want to have them like as like a security force, man. That's gonna be awesome. I don't even need it, but I like the idea of it. Anyway. Oh yeah. Elsa could have a teacher or stuff like tennis. That'd be awesome. Could have a cook for us. Ooh, that would actually be a tremendous time saver as well. I love that. Litecoin, we already looked at that piece of shit, and it was not good. Actually, it was very not good. But you can scroll back. I don't know, maybe it was about like 10 minutes ago now. Crypto Tiger says a stonk good stir. SOFI Technologies looking for an entry for long-term buy. SOFI, okay. I don't really know what long-term means to you, but this thing, again, making new all-time highs. near the end of the month. This is overall very, very good. If this thing even pulled back to its prior all-time high from February of 2021, which would be like 28 to anywhere between like 27 to 28 bucks, I would look at that as fine for me if I was trying to do that same thing. Because ultimately, this, trading back above that prior all-time high, I don't think it's going to like literally just stop here. If you get a pullback, it'll just very likely be that, a pullback with a higher low and then continuation up and to the right. And in fact, right now, I mean, this is just, again, it's already been having plenty of corrections and constructive behavior the whole way through at the highs, getting these pullbacks down to major moving averages, but putting in higher lows the whole time. I think that the breakout is real here, man. I think the breakout's real there. Security robot sounds scary if the thing goes AWR. I mean, it could be for sure, man. I mean, maybe it decides that I'm a threat and then it kills me, and then it wears my face at like a puppet, and then Elsa is fooled by this robot pretending to be me. It's very possible. It's very, very possible. Flamethrowing robot dog in the apartment. Oh God. Maybe not that. Don't hurt my dog. Don't hurt my damn dog. I'm scrolling up here to just see what else is going on. XRP army has entered the chat. Yeah, XRP will always have an army, man. I mean, shit, there's still people in the fucking Hexagon army, and well, I mean, at least XRP has gone up, At least XRP has gone up. This thing still has an army, and it doesn't really even do that. Yeah, I mean, really amazing chart. BNB. Yeah, let's look at BNB. BNB would be interesting. This is actually one of the only things in the whole crypto space that has actually beaten Bitcoin. And it not only made new all-time highs and higher lows from cycle to cycle, but even beaten Bitcoin. Like that's extremely difficult to do. This is one of the only things that I've seen do that. I think the other thing that I've seen do it is another exchange token. And I remember last we looked at this, we said, hey, this is fucking bullish, man. And it is fucking bullish. It's now well above 1,000, or I don't know about well above 1,000, but it is above $1,000. I think it's going to continue to new highs from here as well. Yeah, this is ultimately this is undoubtedly the strongest chart we've seen today. If it does have a short-term correction, somewhere down around like 960-ish region is fine. But even then, again, this is, the breakout looks real to me. Okay, maybe you do get a real pullback on the daily. Yeah, you do actually have some pretty nasty bearish divergence here on the daily time frame. So if it does correct lower, maybe like 940, 950. I think worst case scenario would be like about 890, but that would still be a higher low and still ultimately lead towards higher prices, I suspect. Yeah, overall, I don't hate this chart at all long term. Now, do I like this as a project? I mean, not really. I have major skepticism towards this thing, but fair enough. As far as charts go, it is objectively the best crypto chart we've seen today. And again, do I think it can pull back in the short term? Absolutely, but that should be an opportunity. This is fucking good. This is fucking good, man. Exchange token, definitely no manipulation. Yeah, again, look, I probably share a lot of the same skepticism as you with regards to CZ or just Binance in general, and this being an exchange token. For the people who are around in 2017, I think everyone who was around in 2017, saw the same thing as me, and it was like, this fucking exchange came out of nowhere. It came out of literal fucking nowhere, and almost immediately it took the whole volume of the whole market, and their interface was not better than the other alternatives like Poloniex or like Coinbase or even okay, it's probably better than Gemini. Not good for active trading, obviously. But it just reeked of just cheap Chinese shit. And again, I'm not saying this as like a racist thing, but it was. The website felt really cheap and really rinky-dinky, man. It really did. And then they got all the fucking volume almost immediately, and everyone just went there automatically almost immediately. Call me crazy, but I do think that there was something bizarre going on there. I mean, shit, man. It's no secret that Binance has had many cases against them legally. CZ, I think, even went to jail for a while as well. I don't know. Now, to be fair, I mean, CZ actually seems like a pretty good guy to me. So. I don't know. I really don't know. But fair enough. This is my skepticism. Get your own. That's right. This is mine. Get your own. Okay. Bob says, I'm mad. It's mad. Been watching you and supporting you since 2020, and you just ignore me every time. Sir, I don't even see a fucking comment from you, man. Believe me, I don't ignore anyone. there's thousands of people who watches these things, man. Like it's really, really difficult for me to get to every comment, and I don't get to every comment, nor do I even try to, because it's just an impossible task. We'd be here for, many hours, man. If I see one of your comments, or if you just post it, without like a passive aggressive message, I'm happy to look at it, man. But please understand, I go completely just by first, of course, what's it called? I prioritize the super chats. Have to prioritize the super chats just because these we have limited time here, so I'm going to prioritize people who are throwing finances towards it. And then after that, I just go to the bottom of the chat and read whatever's there. So if you want to post right now, man, there ain't no super chats to read off. So just let me know what you want to look at, and we can look at it, man. It's no problem. I'm reading some of these other comments. These are great. With a crashing society, SOFI gives loans, right? The highest credit card failure happening right now. Is it? I don't really know if this data. I don't really know this data too well, to be honest. It's stuff that I don't really pay much attention to. Even though one of my guilty pleasures every day is watching these like financial devastation channels, like Caleb Hammer and this other guy as well. Who actually I really don't like this other guy, but he gets some good clips, to be honest. It's entertaining, man. But I don't know if it's actually that bad. I think what has really happened in the past 5 years with inflation is that the sort of bottom 30 to 35% of income earners, especially in the US or even worldwide, I'm sure as well, they have been massively hurt, and the situation's gotten worse for them. Everyone else, I think, from what I understand, is still like kind of okay. And of course, for the people who own assets, it's actually gotten, well, much better, to be fair. So, there's a big bifurcation. What's behind that? It's inflation, of course. It's inflation. Why does inflation hurt the poor more than it hurts the rich? Well, the rich, it doesn't necessarily not hurt the rich as well. It's just the rich usually are buying assets. That's why they're rich, right? But people who are just income earners, who only hold dollars and don't invest in real assets. And when I say real assets, I don't mean like a fucking Gucci shirt or like a Lambo car. I mean like, a good stock. And even then it has to be like a good stock, right? You're going to get hurt because inflation is just going to cut your fucking purchasing power. I think it's cut people's purchasing power like in half in the past 5 years, like between 40% to 50%, somewhere around there. So yeah, if you're a wage earner, you're getting absolutely fucked. And the only way to even have a chance there is to buy assets. But then, of course, you have the risk of holding assets. They can go down in the short term. Generally, over the long term, they will go up. But in the short term, they can go down. So if you need that liquidity and you're an income earner and things are really tight, then you can get into some trouble there. Of course, I mean that's a terrible situation. It's a terrible situation. Tell me how much I'm going to lose, Crown. How much is this going to hurt? Do you have like a ticker or something? I don't know. Crown, inflation isn't the same as purchasing power. They say that it's true. That's not what I'm saying at all. Inflation obviously hurts your purchasing power. They say it's, you mean CPI, so it's 2 to 3%. Actually, trueflation is down around 2%. So in recent times, it actually probably has been around 2%, because I do think that trueflation is quite close. But again, your purchasing power is something a little bit different, right? That's just what the value of what your dollar can buy. And I think that's gone down significantly. So yeah, if you are earning income, if you're keeping your wealth in dollars, then yeah, you are kind of getting fucked. It's not that you are kind of getting fucked. You are getting fucked 100%. Like you are getting fucked. You are getting fucked each and every second that passes by because inflation ain't stopping. Even right now when inflation is lower, it's still going. It's 2% or it's close to 2% right now. It's not 9% as it was before. And even then, like I said, the real inflation numbers probably are not represented in the CPI. It's better represented in trueflation, at least. In my opinion, it's better represented there because they include more things. I understand why both of them do, their own ways, but yeah. My fluctuation is uppo. Yeah, man, mine can be as well. Depends on what I eat for the day, of course. Sorry. Thank you for that, Mr. Alex Somani. Thank you for that. I am lobotomized myself, so interpreting sarcasm, very difficult, very fucking difficult. Let's see the good old cookie DAO poop coin. We can look at that, I guess. I actually really want to do another video. I've really been enjoying doing these videos on the weekend. Like the last one was about taxes. Oh, gee. Okay, dude, like just, it's down. It's going down. It only goes down. This is absolute fucking garbage. You didn't need me to tell you that though. Look, is it even ever going to go back above its 2025 highs? Probably not. More likely to go down to 7 cents or even lower than it is to even get back above this high here, which is 25 cents or so. So yeah. What's up, Mr. Amin? Crowny, still eating ground beef every day? Some sort of beef, yeah. Washing it down with black coffee, yeah, man. I love it, man. I really do love ground beef, man. I really do love ground beef. It's what I ate when I was poor as fuck. It's also what I eat when I could eat just straight up steak every day. I love it, man. It's fucking great. It's fucking great. Caspa for Whitsunday. Caspa, okay, we can look at Caspa. I'm just going to type in Caspa. Oh, there's Casta. I think that's Call the Moon's shitcoin. Let's see what this one's doing. Well, it's precisely that. Let's see, Caspa. Okay, there we go. There's Caspa. All right. I mean, yeah, not good, man. So last we looked at this, I said, hey, you got a downtrend. You got another lower high right here. This thing is more likely to go down than it is up. I remember someone made some like kind of aggressive tweets at me for this, but Exhibit A, man, following through. Hidden bearish divergence on that last lower high alongside a rejection on the 55 EMA. This is fucking classic stuff right here. Hope that person's watching, although they probably aren't, but yeah. A lot more likely to go back down to your April lows than it is to go up from here, man. Maybe get a short-term bounce attempt somewhere around like 7 cents alongside the price action pivot extension line here. These are also like quite scalpable as well for like very short-term trades, but do I think it's going to hold there? Probably not. Probably not. I think it's a lot more likely to come back down to this low, somewhere around 6 to 5.5 cents. And then honestly, I think it's going to break down from there after a bounce. Probably gets a big bounce around here, but I do think that after that, it likely does break down, and we can just kind of take the width of this range and see, where a presumptive target may be. That'd be pointed down towards like 1 cent long term. I don't know if it's going to get there, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it in like a year or somewhere. Like if we fast forward a year from now, if you saw it somewhere well below 5 cents, I'll put it that way. So yeah, Litecoin looks awful. It has a head and shoulders. Does it have? I don't know if I saw a head and shoulders there. No, I did. I guess you could kind of make that argument. Fair enough. Yeah. We already looked at Aster. Guys, there's not going to be a chart for me to look at on Aster. It's literally like a few days old. I don't have an opinion on that, or at least you shouldn't want my opinion on that, because that's just total guesswork there. It's total guesswork. What's up, Peter Underwood? Good to see you, man. Good to fucking see you as always, sir. Caspa and Casta. Very, very confusing right there. I already think the weather here is amazing. Asian massage. Like, I really don't know what people are complaining about in summer. They are just gigantic pussies, man. It is insane. It's so fucking nice here, man. It's really so nice. I just do not understand where people are. Like, are people that spoiled with weather? Like, they can't deal with a little bit of humidity. It's really not that bad, man. It's really not that bad. And right now it's fucking beautiful as well, man. It was beautiful. It was, as soon as we got into September, I have no complaints at all. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is amazing. Absolutely amazing. But Caspa is going to change the world, crown. WTF. That's right, man. It's going to change the world by making many people who hold it very, very poor. Remember when we were talking about holding assets to offset inflation and loss of purchasing power? That's probably not the best one to hold. I think you lose even more with that. See, that's the real diabolicalness about these absolute garbage assets, crypto assets, right? Most of them, you're just going to lose more with them if you hold them longer term. Like, the probability of losing more goes up and up and up more long term the longer that you hold them. Bitcoin over the long term, it just, the probability that you gain versus it goes up. That's why we love it. That's why we love it. That's why, in my opinion, it really is something special. It doesn't mean that it's immune from going down. Of course, it can go down. And I think it even goes down from here. But long term, if you can hold on to it, generally pretty good. Steven Schickman says, will there be any divergences on Doggy soon? Well, you might have some bearish divergence here. I'm guessing you're talking about bullish divergence. You do have bearish divergence here on the weekly RSI because you are having a lower high alongside a higher high in price action, barely, but yeah, it is there. I mean, technical target there, you've kind of already gotten there. It's like 22.5 cents or so. Other than that, I don't know, maybe you're on like a daily. Still here, daily time frame, you got bearish divergence 1, 2, 3 drives coming off this last few highs. So the only divergences I'm seeing here are bearish. Could you maybe have hidden bullish divergence soon? If the daily RSI gets lower than this low, whilst not going that much lower than where it's at right now, I guess it's possible. But I don't think that. I think look, I'm just gonna shoot you very, very straight, man. I think that is. I don't want to be promoting hopium where I really don't think that hopium is existing. It's like, yeah, you might get a bounce there, but when you get that low, it's just, this is no longer like a strong uptrend potentially. This is a real reversal in the making with a pity bounce in the short term. That's kind of the way that I look at it, man. Have you tried eating air-dried reindeer meat? Actually, I have, man. I've bought. I think I spent like 200 euros at the airport last time buying that, and I ate it all on the plane flight. It's very expensive, okay? Like it was worth it. Okay, first off, I don't eat food on the airplane because it's poison, man. Like you're better off buying fucking light derp coin. But so I'll go and splurge on something like that. And look, it was really fucking good. And there's very few things in it to begin with, so you don't have to worry about getting poisoned. And I need a lot of food, man. It was a long flight. Like that was a 10-hour flight. Like of course I'm gonna eat all that shit. It's amazing. Anyways, gold or silver outlook. Let's look at gold. Let's look at gold. Actually, we might even look at both just because they have been quite interesting recently. Gold, really good here. Another fresh breakout. More likely to make new highs than it is to have any real legitimate pullback from here. Again, this is a perfect example of why I have the rule of not getting bearish on things that are above all major movement averages, especially on a monthly time frame. And this one, it showed potential for correction a few times in this major move here, especially throughout most of this year with all these wicks to the upside here, but it never even got close to coming below the red 5 EMA. So up is the name of the game, man. I think it continues more, man. I think you're getting close to the last push of this rally. You're starting to see some pretty extreme levels here on monthly BBWP, but I think it's going to stay extreme for a little while longer. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing gets above 4,000 before it puts in like a real correction on a monthly time frame. It just depends what time frame you're on, obviously, because if you're on like an hourly, of course, there's going to be several corrections along the way. But if you're on a monthly here, it's just going to be one straight line, I think. So yeah, we can look at UMAC on NYSE. UMAC, there we go. Unusual machines. I've never seen this one. Kind of a weird chart to me. It's just one of those straight up and then straight down charts and then straight up again, I guess. Look, right here, I do think if there's any place for you to potentially fail, it would actually be right here, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that this thing actually is going to push through, because I'm not really seeing any like exhaustion on momentum oscillators right now. So I would be favoring the upside continuation from here, and maybe push this to like 15 and a quarter, or maybe as high as like 17, and then you get a pullback somewhere around there. I think more likely around 17, to be honest. But again, you have high, you have low, you have technically a lower high, but also a higher low. So I would start to shift the odds in favor of this reversal continuing. So yeah. Let's see. There's always a bull market somewhere. Yeah, of course, man. Of course. There is quite literally always a bull market somewhere. There's always even in a bear market, there's always something somewhere that's doing, significant things to the upside. And of course, you don't necessarily have to trade everything to the upside as well. Bear markets can be just as lucrative to trade as well. Sacred says, just keep short and it'll play out eventually. Yeah. I wouldn't be, maybe you're talking about gold or maybe talking about this, but either which one, I probably wouldn't want to be short in either, man. Like, no, it's really no sense in front running these things right now when they've just been in these fucking monumental epic uptrends. Like, what the fuck? But people always want to be like the smart one, right? Or it's not people, but there is a certain type of person who always wants to be like the smart kind of person who's going against the crowd and all of this, because they've probably seen The Big Short and all these things about being a contrarian, and that is true to an extent, but for the most part, it's wrong. You're going to be kind of bleeding yourself, at least with paper cuts, trying to do that the whole way up, obviously. The Crypto Doe says, Crown, been with you since 2018. My Coinbase wallet was hacked in 2022. It's taken me several years to build up enough savings to get back into anything. Finally have saved up $5,000 to invest in Vice. I mean, I really don't know your full situation. So again, not financial advice, but okay, when you say 5,000 to invest, to me that means this is $5,000 that I have that I do not need for any immediate expenses. All of that is covered. Maybe I even have like an emergency fund for the next few months or something like this. And so this is purely money that is 100% to be used for investment, and I don't actually need it on a day-to-day basis, and I'm not going to run into a potential issue with, you know, needing it for emergency liquidity, for example. In that case, I would say, you know, personally, you know, would I go into Bitcoin? Would I go into traditional markets? I think either is fine. Honestly, I wouldn't go necessarily in right now to Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin corrects lower. If we're talking about traditional markets, I mean, I don't think that you need to get too cute with it. Personally, I'd probably just put it in right now. But still, I don't think that these things are obviously going to go up for forever. Like, there is a big correction coming at some point. I would probably wait for that, honestly. In your situation, I would wait for the next 15 to 20% downside move from the high of whatever your favorite asset is, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's triple Qs, whether it's whatever, you know, that's for you to decide. I'd wait for the next 15 to 20% downside move from that, and then put it in there. Just, you know, again, that's just the way that I like to do things with long-term investments, because it sounds like you're more in the long-term investment mindset, man. And more power to you, man. You know, you're building back up after getting hacked. I mean, that fucking sucks. That really fucking sucks. I totally get that. But, you know, you did the right thing. Like, right after a terrible event happens, what do? You get back on track. You start building back up. That's just all that you can do. You're just taking the next steps in front of you, instead of, like, you know, dwelling on the past and, you know, fucking yourself up that way. So just want to say that, hey, that is the right path. Personally, if I was in your situation, I would wait for the next, you know, nice dump off. That's just me, though. That's just me. Raphael K says shorting is risky. I just wait for the market to go back into an uptrend. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Look, if you're not like a career trader, even if you are a career trader, you don't need to trade every fucking move, every fucking leg that the market will have to be phenomenally successful. You really don't. What I would really suggest to do is to hyper specialize into doing something that you know generally gravitate towards. So if you do like playing the upside, just wait for that. Just do that. Get really, really good at that. If you do like playing the downside, then just get really fucking good at that and specialize in it, and don't worry about the rest, because you can make livings that way. That's completely fine. It's completely fine, man. Anyways, some more water. Lift the 99% says best advice: don't get hacked. Easier said than done in some cases. You know, I've heard some pretty crazy stories, man. And then again, you never know like how legitimate it is, but I can totally understand how it happens to people, and I wouldn't be surprised if it even happened to me at some point too, man. That's why, honestly, I actually got rid of a lot of my hard wallets, and I just go into stock market and use ETFs. Like, using ETFs to invest in these things, in my case, is a lot safer, is a lot simpler. I totally understand that is against a lot of the ethos of crypto. You know, you're supposed to hold your own keys, hold your own coins. Totally get that, and I think that is absolutely right for probably the majority of people. But I've decided for myself that's not necessarily the case. So yeah, been following since 2021. Hell yeah, Mr. Blockhead Ken. Hell yeah, sir. Can you give your thoughts on Oracle? Sure. ORCL. ORCL. Okay. Oracle Corporation. Already looking pretty good. Looking even better right here. Again, this is a parabolic rally. Obviously, you're getting double extremes now on monthly BBWP, so this is not something that happens often. So we are at extremes. Do we have any indications that the high is already in here? No, I think that this is going to be continuation, actually. I mean, shit, even if it wanted to fill the gap, that's 245, but this already looks like it's setting a base at 293, so that's fine. I think that this thing is more likely to make new all-time highs. So do I think that the highs are in just yet? No. Do I think that you're very deep into this parabolic blow off top? Yeah, hell yeah. How high can it go? I don't fucking know, man. These are the crazy times for shit like this. I just don't think that the highs are in just yet. But be aware, when this thing turns around, it'll be very, very quick. Very, very quick. So, one, I don't think highs are in. Two, I don't think it's got that much more to go. Maybe it gets above $400. Maybe. I mean, these are the craziest times for shit like this. But yeah, I think you're probably going to put in a major high sometime in Q4. Something like that, man. Hey, I appreciate that, Mr. Edgar Silva. I really appreciate that, man. David Middleton says, can you take a look at EBS chart? Sure. EBS. Is this a crypto or is this a Stonk. It's a stonk actually. Okay, cool. Emergent bios, terrible, fucking god awful, shitcoin type stuff. Now here's the thing, man. You are around basically all-time lows or your prior all-time low. A lot of the time you're gonna get a pity bounce around these regions. This is a quarterly. Holy shit, it's really bad. But overall terrible. You know, I think best case scenario to the upside, this thing might retest around your July 2024 highs, somewhere between there and like $19. But even that's a lot of hopium, man. All I'm going off of is just the fact that this thing is basically retesting your prior all-time low, you know, almost after IPO. So it's like, that's not like a good thing. It's not really a good thing. I think that you get a bounce there, but do I think it's going to be a reversal? It wouldn't be my first call, man. It'd need to, you know, prove itself in many ways first. Let's see what else we got. Really need your indicators on that puppy. DOT? Really need my indicators on DOT? You need my indicators to tell you that DOT is an absolute dog shit piece of highly esteemed technology that is going to change the world and go to the moon and beyond. Yeah, man, it's bro, I have the most bullish indicator for this thing that no one has. And look, it's going to be going back to your $55 highs, doing more than a 10x from where it's at right now, despite not even making new highs during this whole bull market for the past 3 years. Amazing. You know, see, if you didn't have the special indicator, you'd never know. But now you know. Yeah, man, no. I would be surprised if it even gets back above this high here at $11.50. I don't think it, I honestly don't think that it will. But if anything, man, I'd be looking to the downside here. You got hidden bearish divergence again on the weekly time frame. So closing the week out anywhere below about 408. We'll do it. We'll confirm that. And at that point, I'll be looking for this thing to retest what is more or less your all-time lows and probably just continue on with this long-term massive macro downtrend. Again, this is just a 2021 shitcoin. They all do the same shit. They go parabolic in their first cycle. They come down in the same fashion, and then they stay down, and they don't even make new highs in the following cycle as the cycle progresses. Some of them do, but none of them, or almost none of them, get back above their 2021 highs. The ones that do, it's less than 10. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's just so unlikely, man. It's just so unlikely. And this thing is no different. It's no different. And I want you to recall back to 2021, what was the narrative with DOT? It was, I don't know, it's like, it's the next technology. It's going to connect all of the dots and be a polka dot. So gay people are going to like it. And that's cool. And we should buy it or something. That's the extent of it, man. Like, people will always have some sort of massive narrative as to why this fundamental technology is really the one. It almost never is, man. It almost never is. Yes, every once in a while it is, but for fuck's sake, man, when it comes to cryptocurrencies, when it comes to these highly esteemed crypto assets, it's better to assume it will never do anything ever, because 99.9% of the time that is true. That is true. Yes, every once in a while you find an absolute massive winner, but it's just so fucking unlikely, man. DOT's long-term journey to zero. That's the thing. None of these things ever actually go to zero, but it will just trend closer and closer to zero. And every time it has one of these one-off pumps, which gets smaller and smaller every time, but every time it has that, you'll have a little glimmer of hope and be like, oh my God, this one's it. It's the start of one of these moves again. Okay, I saw this back in 2021, so I know it can do it. But what actually happens, of course, you know, it's not going to get anywhere near that, man. Per De Jong says, been in a short on CRO. Yeah, Andrea S says, but they have partnerships. That's right. They have partnerships with Herpity Coin. Amazing. All right, I'm wrong. CRO, you've been in a short on CRO since 35 cents. Thoughts on the weekly? Thinking of keeping it open just because it's looking weak. Let's see. CRO, Chronos. Okay, so you're in from 30. Okay, so you basically shorted the high of this one-off rally right here. To be fair, look, if I was just looking at this thing, I'd say, all right, you got to give it a chance just because it is still above all major moving averages. When I look at it within the context of everything else, I'm on the same side of you, honestly. But I don't know, maybe a short-term bounce attempt where it's at right now. But look, like, whenever you see a pump up like this and then it just bleeds down like this, yes, you might get another short-term like rally, but I don't think Honestly, if I was in your situation, I'll be doing the same thing. I'll put it this way. I think it will fail longer. It will. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing back around 15 cents, man. Yeah. And this is more like a market context analysis rather than just looking at this thing. Because, I mean, objectively, this thing actually does have kind of a pretty weak, but it is present weekly uptrend. But, you know, looking at most other things, they're not doing that. So, yeah. My dots are going to change the world. Cookie says, okay, I'll try last time. I think it is a good chart for microcap. Oh boy. I made a 5x on Dovu on MEXC. I still hold my moon bag. Is there more steam? Moon bear case. Well, there's always a moon case. Just it might be very, very, very low probability, sir. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you're gonna be long anything, I mean, it's got to be something like this. Do I think that this thing's topped out here for a while? Yeah, I'll explain why. You see extremes here on daily BBWP. So I think that this thing's going to be trading sideways at best for a while and probably try some downside as well. Is it going to make new highs above this? Possible, maybe later on. I mean, at least it actually has made new highs this cycle. Most of these shitcoins we've seen today can't even do that. So you got that going for you. Yeah, but give it a chance to go sideways here. I think that this run that you saw beginning in early September, I think that run's done. And you're going to go sideways for a while, and then maybe it goes up to the again to the upside later on. I don't know, but I'd give it a chance just because it actually has had a pretty good response here. Whereas most things, as we've seen, they can't even get above their intra-cycle highs, which is just pathetic. Much love from Boston. I'm an OG since 2019. Hell yeah, Dominic. You have changed my entire approach to trading. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, man. Okay. There's a request. H bar on the daily. Gotcha, man. Yeah, let's check it out. This one was also doing some, I think it was doing something different. I don't know if I am misremembering though. Kind of. I mean, it has rallied up pretty significantly. Got, I don't know if I would say close to the 2021 high, but at least it rallied up pretty decently there. So not super, it doesn't go into like the super shitcoin drawer here. And okay, there we go. Okay, so the monthly right here, I'd have a keen eye on 20 cents. If you can finish September above about 20 to 21 cents, I would say, okay, give it a chance. You know, you're still above all major moving averages. Okay. You know, it doesn't look tremendously great in the short term, but at least okay. If you finish September out below that number, especially 20 cents, but I think even 21 cents would do it here. I'd be looking for this thing to correct back down to the summer lows, which would be between 14 and 15 cents. From there, I'd really have no real opinion on it because still, as long as you are above about 12 cents, which is your June low, it is still objectively a monthly higher low, to be fair. So I'd give it a chance to like go sideways in this consolidation right here for a while, even if it fails the 21 cent region. But wouldn't be my first pick, to be honest, man. I don't know. I am very skeptical amongst these sort of things. Just very, very skeptical around them. Anything that's been around for more than one cycle. But yeah. What are your favorite tickers currently to trade leaps on? I don't trade leaps, so I wouldn't have any favorite ticker to do that. I wouldn't like trading leaps, man. Too far out, way too far out for me. I like short-term stuff. Well, nowadays that means something different because you got zero DTE sort of options. But I don't know, man. I want like 2 weeks to a month out, something like that. That's what I like. Up on chase. What does that even mean? That is what I was feeling. Don't want to let the FOMO get to me. Yeah, in that with that in mind, the crypto, I would say, look, man, you've caught whatever move that thing's gonna have. I think you caught nearly all of it, if not all of it. So I personally would say, hey, the money's in my hands right now. I'm gonna close my hands and run because, well, at the end of the day, this is just likely another shitcoin that is gonna go in the typical direction that shitcoins go. So that's just my opinion. But yeah, LOL might have cashed out that Tau short around 305. Fair enough. Happens, sir. You don't need to be perfect in order to make money. Do you have an upside for Brett on base? Like, do I have I mean, God, I know that I remember this is like some absolute amazing meme shitcoin, right? Do I have upside on it? No, man. This thing only goes down. Like, what the fuck? What kind of? like I don't know why I get mad about this stuff. Like it's really weird. Honestly, it is. Like I have obviously some sort of real internalized issue, but for fuck's sake, man, what the fuck upside are you talking about here? This is garbage. This is fucking garbage. Why do you just want a hopium target like that? I can give you a hopium target. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, bro, it's going to $1. Okay, I can say that. It's not going to fucking happen, though. This thing's not even going to get back above 10 cents ever again, man. This is garbage. It's fucking garbage. It only goes down. Again, intra-cycle, it can't even not make new highs with the rest of the market. That is not a good sign. It's not a good sign. It's really not a good sign. Everyone shorting Tau. Is this like the trade right now? Let's look at platinum for ASTI, and I think maybe we call this one a day. Platinum. It's always a hard one to spell. I don't know why. We can do link. Yeah, we'll do link. Yeah, being another commodity, this one's doing quite well, but I do think you're in a consolidation here. I don't think it's making new highs just yet. I think that you're ranging between basically your highs already and these lows somewhere down around here at like 1250-ish region, and I think that you will come down in the short term, but hopefully set in like a higher low at like 1325-ish region. I don't know, something like that. But overall, long term, I think that this is actually pretty decent. You know, I think we spoke about this one last Friday as well with you. And again, you know, you tested that June 2014 breakdown. So, you know, pull back from that region is, you know, is to be expected, right? But I'm not bearish on this. I just think I spend some time consolidating here and then try some upside, something like that. All right, let's get over to BCBD for the last one. He's looking at Link on the short and longer term. I should have taken profits, but didn't, and now wondering if I should cut my long. I mean, it's pretty minimal information. I don't know if I can answer that question for you, but I can give you opinion on the chart. Okay, so we've been throughout the month putting a very, 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 very specific importance on the $21 number, or $20.85 if you want to get super exact. It stabbed through that area a little bit today. I need to see it close below there, but that's where hopium just, in my opinion, dies for any like real upside from here, without like a, you know, nasty downside correction first. But give it a chance to bounce in the short term. It should bounce off of this, off of this number on the first pass, and that's what it's doing right now. You know, maybe it even bounces back up to like $23. I think it's possible. I mean, again, you're above all major moving averages here on the monthly. Like, I don't want to get super bearish on it just yet. I need to see it at minimum close below $20.80. At that point, okay, yeah, just throw the hopium out the window, because you're likely going to see much, much lower. But give that a chance, or at least if I was in your position, I'd give that a chance first. Again, I have no idea where you bought. I have no idea like your preferences or even what the fuck you're trying to do to begin with. I have no idea on that, but just kind of putting my own sort of spin on it. That's what I'd be looking at, because that's where this thing really starts to break down. And yeah, I mean, look, admittedly, it does not look good here. Like this looks like something that does want to break down after a bit of a bounce, and you know, could spend most of this week bouncing. You know, maybe even hits, like I said, $24 possible, but not a tremendous fan of what it's doing. What's up, Nashbomb? All right, guys, I think that is going to be it for today. I literally just did it. All right. It's been a nice little Monday stream. To a nice little start to the new week. I've really enjoyed all the conversations here, as always. That's what makes this fun, and we'll be signing off now. We'll be back on just with the regular video tomorrow, and then on Wednesday we will do another live stream as usual.